Hi, I'm going to talk about something that I've been thinking about in the last season of sabbatical in my life, and this is the question of control. Not long ago, I posted a video, um, something like control is not part of God's nature, or something similar, and so many people were offended. And I know that not every word can be applied to all the situations. It's not the doctrine of a new religion. It's just a revelation for me, and I share it. And if it resonates with you, good for you. If it doesn't resonate, don't take it too seriously. Okay, um, it's just sharing what I am thinking about with God. Um, so probably I have like 16 other videos related to control. But I would like to tell you some new thoughts I have, new revelations I have um, these days. Um, People have all kinds of like fasting, like fasting from food or Facebook, but what if you fast of simulations or control? Um, being cut off from my normal activities and busyness of life and ministering makes me like face all my addiction to control, and I might let go of control of my career or like control of how to make living, and a lot of things you have to make control, let go of control if you are ministry. But all that does is to concentrate your addiction to control in some other area of your life, maybe your spiritual growth or something. And this is a thing that I really have to face these days. And it's not that funny at times, like it's quite painful. Not that God is punishing me, kind of painful. And it's not even like the devil is attacking me, kind of painful. It's facing my own addiction to these behaviors and things and thoughts. Um, so if you don't keep yourself busy with all those things, you realize that you have a huge lack of controlling something, some kind of situation in your life. It's like if I travel, like I make sure I get my lunch, I make sure I get my clothes dried at a certain time and get the train tickets and all of that. And this gives me a sense of control. And if when I gave this up, I felt like I missed something. I didn't really miss people that much. But I did miss like make things happen. And there's something about um, forcing yourself into a situation where you have to face those addictions. Not to like make yourself suffer, but to make yourself face things and let go of things. Actually, control is a self-destructive thing. Like, too much control destroys control itself. Like, if you don't let go of control, you force yourself into a situation where you must let go of it. Like, if you keep like controlling all those things in your life, you just end up in a situation where you are no longer able to keep things together. And it's a good thing. It's not an attack from the devil, and even it's not even a test from God. It's just life forcing you into experiencing freedom. And it's a good thing, even if it's painful for the first time, and it can be shocking, because it feels like God has just pulled the last rug from under your feet, and you have no ground under your feet anymore, because your trust is in your control. And you feel like you have nothing to cling to if you are forced to let go of control. So, the first thing when you are forced to let it go is shock and pain and addiction to have something that makes you continue that. And then you're just like, there's nothing to do about it. And after a while you enjoy that. Oh, it's good that I can't do anything about it. I don't condemn myself. I feel free. Oh, it's actually good not to be in control. And there is this joy of it and freedom of it. But sometimes we have to go through all the stages of shock and denial and all that to finally face that actually not being at the wheel is quite a lot of freedom. And as a Christian, our last resort of keeping control is doing the will of God. Okay, I don't do life on my own. I ask God what to do so that we could make that happen together. And this is the most holy version of control. It's not bad, it's just not total freedom. And I experience it in myself a lot. Like, okay, you just told me what to do, I'm gonna do that, you're gonna be happy because I'm obedient, and I'm gonna be happy because I could still manage something. And when it doesn't happen, I'm shocked. Like, I was doing what you said, and he was somehow not in it, and it didn't turn out the way I imagined. And it looks so contrary to the peace and joy I had when he told it to me. And sometimes it's just like, it's not what you hear, but from where you hear it. God exists in that freedom where there is no control. Everything is His will. It's not something that has to be forced and done. And when you try to reduce this high existence of God to what shall I do, What are the recipes for your plan? When you reduce this endless freedom of God to a manual, you all of a sudden, the so-called will of God feels strange and unnatural, and you don't know where it got wrong. And I can't say that. All I can say is that there is this way of living, this dimension, this life of God, where no such a thing as making anything happen and forcing anything is needed. And if you try to live the will of God in a lesser dimension than this total freedom, and you try to reduce his will into making things happen, it might turn out quite weird. And all I'm saying this for is that I've done it, and it was terrible and painful and shocking. I thought I heard God. I've just done what he said, and it felt weird, and it felt out of context. What is wrong? And he's calling us up. He's not handing out recipe books like how you cook the will of God. He's calling us up into his life, into his freedom. And many times we are tempted to like set the bar low and say, oh, the freedom of God looks like kind of asking him, kind of doing what he says, kind of forgiving people, kind of letting go of hurts. But there is the freedom of God where you no longer frustrate yourself with expecting anything from anyone, not even yourself, from yourself. There is this existence of God where no control is needed because your very existence is the will of God, and there is no need for making it happen. And God is calling us up to that. And I'm not there. The reason why I'm talking about this is that I'm really harshly experiencing the nonsense of my control. Sometimes I just try for a few minutes not to control anything, and it feels so weird. Like, I'm so addicted to it. It's so funny. I laugh at myself so much. Even in kindergarten, like I had quite a rough time when I was a young child, and the way I tried to protect myself was like controlling anything so that no one could ever hurt me, and nothing could ever turn out to be wrong, and it's quite deeply ingrained. And sometimes I control things that is not reasonable, like not even on the lowest human perspective. Not just based on the heavenly perspective, but even it's like it just makes no sense. Still, I'm trying to control it, and I'm laughing at myself. It's just so funny. Like, why do I do this? So, just sometimes play a game of like, okay, don't control for half an hour. You won't destroy your life in half an hour, probably. and just see how you react and how much resistance rises up. mm. Yeah. Um, yeah, so these are the things I'm thinking about. Not because I have a philosophy class in my living room now. It's that I'm forced to face these things. Yeah. And you can intentionally force yourself in a situation like that. You don't have to wait for a big trauma in your life or shock to experience that freedom. But most of the people have those terrible experiences, like relatives dying and terminal disease, when they get to the point of letting go, and then there is a joy in it. But you can have that freedom and that joy of it without a terrible situation. But it's still uncomfortable. So sometimes I ask God, like, why don't people want you? Why don't people want the freedom that's in you? Like, why don't we have this highest perspective of total freedom when I have no expectations and no hurts and no frustrations? Like, why do we settle for less? And every time I face something in myself and I feel like, oh, I'm done, this is over, okay, I'm no longer interested, and God says, this is why other people don't want to be with me and don't want to experience freedom, because they are facing the same feeling as you are facing, and you want to flee and they want to flee also. It's so funny. If you don't flee from those situations and you allow God to show you how ridiculous your sense of control is, you end up experiencing something more of this life of God. And if we can be free, why wouldn't we? Yeah, that's it. God bless you.